going that way, guys.
A clash broke out outside a nightclub in Miami when Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis reportedly got into a tense physical confrontation. Witnesses say the scene quickly turned chaotic, with punches exchanged, personal insults flying, and serious fallout that could affect careers. The situation escalated after Gervonta crossed a line, directing disrespect toward Crawford and those close to him. He also took aim at Crawford's pursuit of a high-profile fight with Canelo Alvarez, mocking the entire idea and adding more fuel to an already growing feud. Tension between the two had been building for quite some time, with subtle shots and public comments keeping the rivalry alive. But everything boiled over last night, ending in a shocking scene that no one expected to unfold that way. Here's what happened. The night started like any other high-profile party in Miami, packed with celebrities, athletes, and a crowd filling one of the city's busiest nightlife spots. Among those in attendance were Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis, both spending time out after their latest appearances in the ring. At first, the two fighters stayed separate, each surrounded by their own group. As the evening went on, though, being in the same venue made an encounter hard to avoid. People at the scene said the atmosphere shifted when Davis moved toward Crawford's area. From the way it looked, the approach wasn't casual. It was clear he came over ready for a confrontation. Known for staying composed in tense situations, Crawford initially chose not to engage and seemed willing to ignore the remarks. But the exchange shifted once Davis started mocking Crawford's efforts to secure a matchup with Canelo Alvarez. That comment changed the energy instantly. What had been a tense conversation suddenly felt close to boiling over. Davis reportedly laughed while taking another shot at Crawford, saying that Canelo had no real interest in facing him and that the only reason he was pushing for the bout was the payday.
With you and Terence Crawford, it would be one of the biggest in boxing.
We don't talking about yet about the fight. Me and Turkalash know each other, and then we wanna see what happens.
And when do you want to get out next? I know you're here in London tonight. When are you going to be in a camp?
Very nice.
When are you going to be in a camp? I know you're
in
here.
camp, training camp in March.
Okay, so when
at the beginning of the middle of the February or March.
That was the moment Crawford lost patience. After holding back through the earlier taunts, he finally reacted and charged at Davis, throwing a punch that stunned everyone nearby. The crowd barely had time to react before security rushed over, trying to pull both men apart. By then, the scene had already spiraled out of control. Guests were shouting, phones came out from every direction, and the entire club was thrown into confusion. What started as a normal night out in Miami turned into a scene no one there is likely to forget. Anyone following boxing closely knew this confrontation had been building for a while. The tension between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis did not begin that night. For months, both fighters had traded indirect shots through interviews, online posts, and public remarks. What started as verbal exchanges slowly turned into a personal rivalry, with each comment adding more pressure to be by the time they crossed paths in person. The bad blood had already been growing for a long time. The incident in Miami was simply the moment everything finally spilled over. The feud reportedly started after Terence Crawford made remarks about Gervonta Davis not receiving an invitation to a private ring awards event held in London. Davis took those comments as a direct slight, and that only deepened the tension between them. Davis answered publicly, refusing to let the criticism slide. He fired back by questioning Crawford's motives in boxing, claiming Crawford was more focused on chasing big-money fights than building his legacy. That a major part of that criticism centered on Crawford's pursuit of a showdown with Canelo Alvarez, which Davis openly mocked and used as another way to challenge Crawford's standing.
Are you retiring?
What changed? What made you?
Trash, garbage.
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Madam.
Gervonta, something should have happened at this time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like the talks about retirement was not even discussed at this moment, and now it's something you keep on repeating. Is it just because obviously what you've done through boxing since you were a kid and everything? Where's Calvin Ford? Is Calvin Ford or Leonard Edelby? Usually they're around to.
You think you might be gaining love for it though? You never know. Like, like say you got to walk today.
The exchanges between them kept escalating, with each response becoming more personal than the one before. What began as public criticism soon turned into a non-stop back and forth, with neither fighter willing to let the last word go unanswered. Their rivalry had already become a major talking point across the boxing world, drawing attention every time Terence Crawford or Gervonta Davis made another comment. Even with all the tension, most people assumed it would stay limited to words. Very few expected the feud to reach the point where it would turn into a physical confrontation.
Yeah, just won his debut at 154. Said if the money's right, we'll fight. Everybody wants that fight. What do you feel about that matchup? People saying the weight, all this stuff. How do you feel about that?
You know, everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2-3 weights class less than me. But if the money is right, why not? Right? Why not? But look, I'm focused 100% on Berlanga. I know I have a challenge in front. I never overlook any fighter. So I'm focused 100% in this, and then we.
Another key point fueling the tension was Crawford's situation involving Canelo Alvarez, which Gervonta Davis later used as a talking point to mock him. Crawford had made the bold decision to step up to 168 pounds, aiming for a potential showdown with Canelo and a shot at his unified super middleweight titles. The move immediately sparked debate across the boxing community. Some viewed it as a high-risk, legacy-defining challenge, while others questioned whether it was the right time or the right jump in weight. That split reaction only added more fuel to the ongoing criticism, which Davis eventually turned into ammunition during their heated exchanges.
Terence Crawford was with Turkey Al-Sheikh at the other event across town, put out an open challenge to you on the internet with Turkey Al-Sheikh calling you out. What's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comments.
On one side, there were those who saw Crawford's decision as a dangerous but ambitious step, an opportunity to cement his place in boxing history by taking on one of the sport's biggest names, Canelo Alvarez. That on the other side, critics were far less convinced. They argued that the move was driven more by financial motivation than legacy building, suggesting that Crawford was chasing a major payday despite having slim odds of coming out on top against Canelo.
I want Canelo. Is there anybody in the camp that would say, you're not ready for this?
That's a big boy. He's strong. That's a conversation. It's not just, oh man, you'll whoop his ass.
Like, yes, man type stuff.
I'm not worried about Canelo. I'm not thinking about Canelo. I'm just focused on Israel Magdalene.
In a small way, is this a stepping stone to your dream fight?
I don't look at fights as stepping stone.
Gervonta Davis didn't hold back when addressing this angle of the rivalry, using it as another way to target Terence Crawford. But he mocked the idea that Crawford truly believed Canelo Alvarez was focused on him, or even considering him a priority in the division. According to Davis, Canelo had bigger concerns and more important fights on his radar than that matchup. Davis went further, ridiculing Crawford's pursuit of the bout and suggesting that Canelo barely even acknowledges his name. In his view, Crawford was treating the potential fight like it was a guaranteed path to retirement money, rather than a realistic or respected challenge.
As a metal shield and you have a glass shield, talk about the punch resistance. What do you think it takes assessment, man?
You gonna see? You gonna see?
Could he get it in the future?
Too little.
I mean, you came up from 35, right?
He ain't fighting no real guys at 47.
So, okay. What about, everyone's talking about Errol fighting the winner of Canelo and Jamel. Could you ever do that? Is that too much weight, or?
What, 168?
Yeah.
I ain't going up there.
Right.
So you got Canelo winning then, right?
Yeah, he fighting at 168.
The proposed matchup between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez has sparked mixed reactions, with some voices in the boxing world dismissing it as more of a spectacle than a strictly competitive sporting contest. From that perspective, critics argue the bout is being treated less like a traditional elite-level clash and more like an entertainment-driven event designed to attract attention and generate revenue, rather than determine true superiority in the sport.
My brother, Terence Crawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring. I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that favor Canelo is that, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford could match anybody and probably do way better, you know what I'm saying? But, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him.
Many boxing analysts and insiders believe that Terence Crawford should work his way through the elite challengers at 168 pounds before being granted an immediate shot at Canelo Alvarez. That, in their view, earning a title opportunity through proven competition would give more weight and credibility to the matchup. Comments like those from Gervonta Davis reportedly added even more pressure to the situation. According to the narrative, Davis's remarks struck a nerve with Crawford, intensifying emotions and pushing the already heated rivalry to a breaking point.
Is that career defining? Is this a legacy fight for you?
Well, when I got shot, for me to change my life the way that I did and stop hanging out with the guys that I hung out with, my career started going up. And yes, this is a legacy fight for me. This is a mega fight. This is a superstar fight. This is all those in one with me and Errol Spence Jr. A lot of people, they writing me off because they say, oh, well, he's too small, or he haven't fought nobody like Errol Spence, or his resume is this, or his resume that. There's a lot of things that a lot of people can say, but
on July 29th, all the answers to everybody's questions.
When news of a Crawford-Davis clash surfaced, fans reacted instantly, and the boxing community exploded online. Social media platforms lit up with trending tags and non-stop discussion, with hashtags like #SharkClubChaos, #SharkItDavis, and a wave of boxing controversy terms circulating everywhere. Supporters quickly split into two camps. A large group backed Terence Crawford, arguing that things went too far once family was dragged into the argument, claiming that crossed a serious line. Others took a different view, suggesting that Gervonta Davis was deliberately fueling the drama to keep attention on himself and stay relevant as his career moves toward its later stages. And at the center of it all, one thing is clear. Davis isn't just talking for the sake of it. He's generating massive attention, and whether people approve or not, it's working. Are you retired?
Trash.
What changed? What made you?
It's trash, garbage.
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Tomato.
Gervonta, something should have happened during this time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like talks about retirement was not even discussed at this moment, and now it's something you keep on repeating. Is it just because obviously what you've done through boxing through since you were a kid and everything?
Fed up with the
Where's Calvin Ford? Is Calvin Ford or Leonard Edelby? Usually they're around to.
You think you might be gaining love for it though? You never know. Like like say you got to walk today.
But there's another twist in the story. Gervonta Davis isn't solely locked in on Terence Crawford right now. Reports suggest he may also be circling a massive second fight with Ryan Garcia. Talks are said to involve an eye-watering deal worth around $150 million, reportedly backed by Turkey Alashik, a major figure known for financing some of the biggest and most high-profile boxing events in recent years, that if it comes together, it would be one of the most lucrative and talked-about matchups in the sport, adding even more fuel to an already heated boxing landscape.
Hopefully I fight Ryan again. If they're not on some host, I text that ass again. Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. You know what I mean? When I start streaming out that, and that, stop it, knock it off, cuz. Stop it. Tell them send that bag, and I'm coming. And I'm, you know.
Gervonta Davis isn't the only name drawing attention in all of this. Terence Crawford is also being pulled into a much larger promotional picture. Reports suggest that Turkey Alashik is playing a role that goes beyond simply funding fights. His involvement is described as more of a strategic force behind the scenes, focused on turning major boxing events into full-scale global spectacles rather than standard matchups that end this evolving landscape. He is said to be linked to discussions surrounding both Crawford and Davis, helping shape the direction of these potential crossover bouts and high-profile super fights that are capturing worldwide attention.
I'm saying that he wants you, things like that. Does that stuff just sound crazy, or just like I'm supposed to be called out? You know.
When you look at all the great fighters that was getting called out by everybody from different weight classes, so it's nothing that I'm not surprised about.
A tank would be something that he said he'll touch your chin and.
Man, everybody say what they'll do, but Tank is in his weight class for a reason, and I don't see him come up to 147 to face me.
With all the speculation building, the major question now is whether an official fight between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis could actually happen. On paper, the matchup comes with major complications. Crawford has competed at welterweight and is now moving up towards super middleweight, while Davis has long been established as a dominant force in the lightweight division. That kind of weight gap normally makes a fight highly unlikely under standard conditions. Still, boxing history has shown that unusual matchups can be made when enough demand, money, and promotional backing come into play. And with Davis also hinting at retirement, the uncertainty only adds more fuel to the conversation, leaving fans to wonder if the unexpected could still become reality.
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes, and, daring to be great.
You would fight him,
man. Tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin. So tell him come and touch me.
Wow. Man. Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch me.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147.
Ooh, see, oh man.
You gonna have a pre-count.
Then what the people gonna say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
If a clash between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis ever made it into the ring, the hype would be undeniable. It would instantly become one of the most discussed fights in recent boxing memory, with fans around the world locked in on every round. That, of course, there are still major obstacles that make such a matchup difficult to arrange, especially given the significant weight differences and the different stages of both fighters' careers. Even so, boxing has a long history of turning unlikely scenarios into reality when demand, business, and promotion align. For now, there are still plenty of unanswered questions. Whether this situation leads to consequences or somehow evolves into a sanctioned bout remains to be seen. What's clear is that the story between Crawford and Davis is not settled yet, and the boxing world will be watching closely to see what happens next.